Alright, so it says I have to take the front bumper trim off. I'm assuming that's pretty much everything all the way around. So there. Doesn't say anything about the headlights, so I'll leave the headlights there. I want to start with this grill though. Looks like a bolt there, 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 and way down there. There it is. And that should take off the grill. So we'll start with that. Alright, so grill came off pretty straightforward. Took these 6, 8, 9 screws out from the top. And then there's these little clips right here. Press down on the red tabs. And that's all that's holding the bottom in. So there's the grill. These are available offline. I think you can get like a JCW one or all kinds of cool blacked out ones. So if you ever want to do that, that is an easy swap out. So where I basically need to go is I need to get in here. So I was hoping I could get away without having to pull this off. So right now, I think my next step is going to be to take this off here, this air shroud kind of area. Looks like I got a bolt here, got a little screw right here, there's one there, there's one there, one probably right here, yeah, right there, and that should be it, I hope. Yeah, I don't see much holding it down here at all, but that's the plan. Step 2. Alright, so we had a rethink regarding the air shroud. I don't think I need to take that off. I'm going to try not to anyway. So I'm going to leave that right there. Because after looking at the instructions here, oh, hello. This is where they need me to cut the plastic in order to mount the bracket. This is for F60s only, so Countryman 2017 and up. And that piece is right here. Now the measurements on there say 50 millimeters from something, and then it's 130 millimeter cut. Nearest thing I can think of is this bevel right here. That looks to be the area they're measuring from. So I went 50 millimeters over, which is this line, and then 130 millimeters over to here, this line. So I'm going to cut this section out right here. This is hard plastic. And then underneath here, there's a rubber flappy thing, so I can cut that with a pair of scissors. So I'm mainly concerned right now about just cutting here, and probably across, just getting this square out of here. And I'll cut the rubber out of there and take that whole piece out. I did look underneath there, and it is, you can see like a solid billet aluminum right in there. So that's what we'll be screwing into. They don't want you screwing through the plastic. They want a solid mount right on the aluminum there. So, okie doke, that's the plan. I want to use a Dremel tool, and I'm just going to bzz and be good to go. Alrighty, be back in a second. Okay, so we have our cutout. That's what it ends up looking like using the measurements from Mini. Now the next step says, there's the this is the aluminum bar here that we're going to mount to. The next step says we have to drill 2 holes, and those holes need to be, in typical German precision, 128 millimeters from the end of this crossbar right here. So you go down to the end, and you'll see the end of the crossbar, right, see the corner of it, right in there. That's the corner of that crossbar. So you measure from this corner out 128 millimeters, and you actually come up to be like right here, which is not good. I don't like this. I don't want this clip to be in the way. So I moved over about 8 millimeters to, actually 12 millimeters to 140 millimeters is this first one. And then the next step says You go 60 millimeters from that first one to right here, and that's where you drill your second hole. So there's 2 holes in there. This one's 128 millimeters from the front of the crossbar, and then measure 60 millimeters over, and there's your second one. Now, additionally, there's 2 different measurements here. There's a 9.5 millimeter, that's where this hole needs to go. 9.5 millimeters from the top of the bar down, that's your center point. This one is 10.5 millimeters, so just a 1 millimeter difference. I guess they want a slight angle there for some reason. So we did that. We measured 9.5 down to here, and we measured 10.5 down to here. And there's our center points. And we're going to drill those out with, again, a typical German precision, a 9.1 millimeter drill bit. So I'm going to get my 9.1 millimeter drill bit. All right, so we've got 2 9.1 millimeter holes, or close enough to it, 60 millimeters apart on the bracket there. So I wasn't too concerned about being 9.1 millimeters, but actually they do need to be really close, because the next step is we need to insert what they call rivet nuts into those holes. And these are the rivet nuts. Okay, they're threaded on the inside. So apparently the screws are going to thread into that, and it has these grippy things on it that are going to grip that hole when I tap them in there. So if it's too loose, it ain't going to grip. So I have it, I can't even put them in with my finger. So I'm going to have to tap them in there with a hammer and set those in there nice and flush, and they should lock in there really good. So I wish I could tell you exactly what size bit I used. But my bit's so worn that I can't really tell you, but it's a decent sized bit. So I did it in 3 different stages. I did the small bit. I tapped it first to give me a good center point, and then drilled a small hole, and then went to a medium sized bit, and then finally went up to this one and did it with this one. So anyway, I want to tap those guys in there and go from there. All right, so those tapped in there pretty well, not much to it. And then here's the bracket. This bracket is going to slide underneath that plastic right there. And those holes are going to line up just like that. And then it comes with these 2 screws right here. Looks like Torx bits, and they're going to go right in there, and this guy's gonna go right in here, just like that. All right, and this is your bracket. The light's not gonna mount to this. There's still some other funky stuff we got to do. We got to there's a strap that goes from here up to this bar. It's really weird on the F60, so on the Countryman. But anyway, that's kind of how that's gonna mount right there. By the way, this bracket kit, here's the number for it, 63122448814, because this does not normally ship with the lights. So if you just buy the lights, that's all you're going to get is the lights. So make sure that when you order it from the mini store, that you look at the accessories that are going to be required, and this is one of the accessories. And this is basically your brackets and your little strap that I just talked about. That's got to go on there, and your little clamps and stuff. All that is in addition to the light kit that actually has a light. So let me tighten this up, and I'll check out these instructions. All right, so our next step here, now that we got this bad boy tightened up there, it's pretty rock solid. They want it even tighter, so that's why they gave us this little bracket and all this cool stuff to make it really snug. So what we need to do is they give us this little bracket here, and it needs to be 190 millimeters, which I put a little line right there, 190 millimeters right on the edge right there, from the furthest corner of your strut. So you can actually pull this rubber out right here, right there. and just measure from that corner right there of this strut right here. 190 millimeters up gets you to that point right there, and that's basically where this guy needs to mount. But we don't mount it just yet because we've got a piece to put on here. So this is another part of the kit here. Let's find my camera. There it is. All right. It only goes on one way. Slides up under here just like this. There's a little notch that it goes in, and a little threaded hole lines up perfectly right there. And then you've got this strap right here. Okay, come on camera, focus. There we go. This little strap right here mounts to that right there. There we go. So I'm making a little bracket sandwich right there. All right. So that sits there. It's hard to do it with one hand, but we're going to try it. See if I can hold it with my pinky. And you drop a little screw in right here. There we go. And there is a left and a right side to this, so you got to make sure that you're putting the right strap on the right side. I mean, it'll only go one way, but you know, if you can't figure out how to make it work, it's probably because you got the left side going on the right side and the right side going on the left side. All right, I'm just going to finger tighten that up right there. Okay, and this wraps around that bar. Now this thing right here, there's a flat side and there's a bent side. See, got a flat and a bent. Okay, the flat side goes nearest to the radiator, and it slides up underneath that, and it goes up to that 190 millimeter mark that we had, basically right there. Okay. And then that gets screwed together with just a nut and a bolt right there. Goes in here. It's gonna squeeze all that together right there, and then that puts tension on this. And they do mention something in one of these steps here. We'll get to it. Something about bending this to get a good amount of tension on this bracket. But even right here, it's rock solid. I hadn't even put a screw in it. So this bracket really does help. So don't skip this bracket. I mean, you may think that you can get away with just putting this L bracket in here, but this strap here really makes everything nice and solid. So some good German over engineering there. All right, let me get this all mounted up. All right, so there's our completed Countryman lighting bracket. All right, got one side done. I'll do the other side in just a second. That took me about 2 hours, but you know, first time on this side, finding tools, videoing stuff. I think I'll be substantially faster on that side. A couple things with the end of this was when you put this strap on, do not tighten this screw up. It says to put it in three threads, which it'll be loose, and then go up here and mount your the top of your strap here. This strap has kind of a natural bend to it, so kind of wrap it around, line your pipe clamp up with your 190 millimeter mark, bolt this nice and snug, and then you come back over here and they tell you to take a measurement from here down to the bumper. Okay, and I measured 13 millimeters. All right, and then they say go ahead and tighten this screw up, and as you tighten it up, it should increase this gap by 1.5 millimeters. So you should have roughly a 15 millimeter gap once you tighten this up. If you don't, then you don't have this strap tight enough. And what you essentially do is you loosen this pipe grip right here, and you kind of rotate it around a little bit more to get a little bit more tension on this strap. Bolt it down, come back over here, and then you tighten it, and then you tighten this screw up three screws, or the remainder, just snug it up, and then you should see a difference from your loose to your tight of 1.5 to 2 millimeters difference. And that just tells you that this strap is indeed pulling up on this this bracket a little bit, which apparently they want you to do, because that reduces or eliminates the shaking at idle or at speed. This thing will be rock solid. So, and it feels rock solid, that's for sure. It feels great. I think it'll be great. So, alrighty, I'm gonna finish up the other side, and I'll do another video then. Well, there's both brackets all together. There's the one that I showed the complete installation on, and then we went over to the driver's side. Goes on the same exact way. Took me 30 minutes to get that in there. Yeah, once you do one, it's pretty straightforward, and not much to it. So let me get the grill on, and then we're going to put these lights on, and then I'm going to save the wiring up for another day, because that's a whole nother project. But the instructions are pretty thorough, so we should be able to get that all in there in a couple hours. But let me get this grill on, get these lights up, and we'll show the finished product. All right, so putting the grill on, running into it, just a slight problem, something that probably could have been resolved earlier. So if the grill goes on, you can see the bracket hits right on the down little support. Actually, it goes just like that. So that one is hitting right there, and this one is hitting, of course, lined up perfectly with that little strut piece. Now the grill has 4 of those, so you know, I'm probably just gonna end up cutting that out of there. Maybe just one side, I'm thinking. I don't know, but I mean, in the future, maybe don't use Mini's exact measurements, because if I would have slid that bracket to the inside like 2 centimeters, maybe 20 millimeters, it would have cleared that, and I wouldn't have to cut anything. So this measurement that we did here for these bolts was 140 millimeters from the end of that piece. I measured over 140 millimeters. Now the book does say do it at 128 millimeters, and that's probably why they do that, because I actually moved it out a little bit, because I didn't want I was cutting too close, or the screw was too close to the cutout. So I probably should have actually widened that cutout just a little bit more, and actually used the Mini measurement of 128, and I bet you it would have cleared this guy just right. So yeah, use the Mini measurements, 128. That'll make you clear your strut there. But I'm just going to put a little notch in there, and it'll be fine. There's going to be a light in front of it anyway. You won't even see it. So, all right, just thought I'd let you know. All right, so success. Lights are mounted. Looks awesome. They are rock solid. They are not going anywhere. I mean, they are on there good. What took me a little bit of time is had to use the Dremel tool and kind of notch out a little bit of this support, if you can see it in there. There we go. Yeah, notch out a little bit of that support just so I could get the bracket through it. My bracket's lined up exactly with the support, unfortunately. If you use the Mini measurements of 128 millimeter instead of my 140, that's why they make it 128. So you won't have to do what I just did. But it's really not that big a deal. They are completely covered up with the lights. My next big step here is going to be putting in the wire harness, getting them all wired up and working. But for now, we're done. Hey, and check out the stripes. Put those on the other day too. Got my My John Cooper signature. Stripes on there. And we threw some stripes on the side. Looking kind of sporty. All right. Take it easy, guys.